binder. So this binder is when I go to plan a unit, write a test, do a review, morning work, homework, intervention, all that good stuff. If you hear a dragon breathing, that's Hank. He's going to be a little obnoxious today, but better than him being in the house barking. So the first thing I do when I'm organizing this binder is, the first thing I keep right here in the pocket is a calendar. So I mark out my 9 weeks, and I look at our pacing guide for our district and everything that needs to be taught in that 9 weeks, and then I kind of space it out. And with the calendar, I put down important dates like report cards and, oh my nose, I gotta sneeze. Maybe not, I don't know. Oh, anyways, I put down like plays and field trips and 60% days and grandparents day and things that I know we're gonna have interruptions during our normal instruction day, so that I know how much time I have to teach and when I need to give my quizzes and my unit tests and things like that. So this is really important, and I just print these off of Google. I just type in printable calendar, and I try to get the ones that have these that are like this so that I can write it in. And I usually write this in pencil, so because as all teachers know, things change every day. Every day they change. Also, in this pocket, I put all of my unit tests and quizzes that I make throughout the year, so that I can always go back and look and see how I was assessing the students on the standard that they were being tested on. So there's that. Then the first thing in my binder is this, and this is what I had to go back and fix. See all the blacks? Yeah. This is our common assessment, and I know in Lee County that's what we do, but I don't know what they do in other school districts. But we have a common assessment, and that's basically where we assess the standards that have been taught that 9 weeks. So this is our first 9 week snapshot success, and this is all the standards that are going to be assessed on that test. And I make it to where I have the standard. I have last year's percentage just to kind of have a starting off point, to show the kids this is about where you should be. Of course, our goal, we always want to be higher, but this is a good starting point. So I always put last year's, I put our goal, which is usually 5 to 8% higher. I give them that room to grow. And then I put what we made this year, and then I put our growth. That was a fly that just flew across the camera. And that's per standard. And then at the top, I do the overall average, the overall percent, the goal, the actual, and the growth. And I actually have this as a huge anchor chart in my class, and I do it for every snapshot to kind of show the kids, why are we taking this test? Why is it so important that we do good? All that kind of stuff. And it really helps them, And we talk about rewards. Like, what reward do you think you should get if we go higher on our first standard than we did last year? And we talk it out, and it makes them accountable for what they're doing in this test. Also, right here, I have our pacing guide that we look at that breaks all the standards down into a nice little flow, if you will. Otherwise, you're just throwing a standard up and teaching it. We ain't got no clue why, how, when, whatever. And you're probably wondering, how in the world do they put the pacing guide together? Well, they look at the MAP test, which your kid takes at the end of the year, and it shows what each standard and domain are worth. So like the operations and algebraic thinking, it's only worth 7 points. So do I need to spend a whole 9 weeks on that? No, it's only 7 points. But numbers and operations in base 10, it's worth 14 points. So I need to make sure that they master everything, and I spend a lot more time on that and fractions than I do on operations and algebraic thinking, which is expressions, patterns, parentheses, all that kind of stuff. So that's there. And it kind of breaks it down for you. That's available on the MDU website also. This next part is what I'm super proud of. You can see it's got all our domains up here. And parents, I'm sorry if you don't know what that means, but teachers know what it means. Operations, algebraic thinking, numbers in base 10, geometry, measurement data, numbers and fractions. This is where a bulk of my work happened last summer when I was moved from 3rd grade to 5th grade, which was a great move. I love it. Not saying that I didn't want to move. It was great. I miss 3rd grade, but I love 5th grade too, so I don't know. But anyways, so I just went and found like all the old common assessments, any old test I could get my hands on, especially like the practice map test for sure. And I like labeled all the questions with the standard, and then I cut all the questions up, and then I pasted them together. So the first one is 508, and you can see that like it goes from 1, 11, 40, 1, 11. So you can see it came from multiple different tests, but they're all 50A1. So you can see that see how they're tested differently on the same standard? That's what this is for. This is to show me, okay, I need to make sure that they understand the concept, but that they understand when I put it in a different form. Hank, come here to me. Excuse me. When I put it in a different form, they still understand what's being asked of them. So that's all of that. And I mean, that's a big old chunk of, that's all that. Next is, excuse me, our old common assessments that we've taken in Lee County that I could get my hands on, that I can always go back and look at and see, you know, what is the first 9 weeks common assessment from last year look like? How did they group the questions? What types of questions? Did they have true and false? Did they have multiple choice? Did they have part A, part B? Did they have drag and drop? All that kinds of stuff. So that's really helpful. And then at the very end, I have my math papers that I've taken out of a workbook and grouped them according to the pacing guide, so that I have them there when I go to plan. So this is basically just my planning binder, and it's so helpful to have everything in one nice place. And so that's my planning binder. Hope it helped. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. Maybe you're just as confused as you were at the beginning. I don't know. But anything you see in this video, excuse my candy cane, that was from what we did, is one that got left out, and I just put it in here so I wouldn't lose it. If you see anything, any chart or anything that you want, just let me know and I'll email it to you. Like I want to share everything, and I ask all the time for people to send me stuff, because I am not the end-all be-all at all. So I started this year, and it's a master copies, and what it is, I had a folder on my desk all year long, and every time I gave a sheet out, every test I gave, every morning work, every homework, everything I gave out, I put it in the master copy folder on my desk. And I tried to keep it up like every week, but let's be honest, teachers, that doesn't happen. So it was usually every 3 weeks when I could see that the folder was getting a little thick. Then I'd come and put it in my master copy. So this has, excuse you, this has everything that I used last year. So when we open it up, we have this little guy. And starting out, we did a morning work journal in my class, and then we kind of moved on from it. So it started out as just word problems, and I put 4 to a sheet and just printed that sheet out, and then they cut it and glued it into their journal. Lord help us. Y'all, when I say it's like, I don't even know, teaching a cat how to do this, because a lot of times these would fall out of their journals. I'm like, why are you not gluing these down? Well, I glued it. I'm like, no, it's just a lot. So we only did this for a little while, and then we moved on to, where was it? Was this still? Yeah, I think we did this like the first 2 9 weeks. Yeah, the first semester. So from August to December we did that, and then in January I started this right here. And I know you teachers have seen this on like Teachers Pay Teachers, and you can buy it, and I bought it for 3rd grade, and I used it a little bit, but a lot of those things, and I love Teachers Pay Teachers, don't get me wrong, I'm all about that life, but a lot of those things I would have to go in and edit because my kids either weren't there yet or they needed more. So that's when I just started kind of looking at it and be like, well, I mean, all it is a table. I can do that. So I just started making my own. So this is a whole sheet of paper, but I just, of course, printed it smaller so I could glue it in this journal. But this is the front. You can see it's got morning work, the date, a place for their name, Monday through Thursday. it's got the standard that these questions are. And so on Monday they would do 1, 2, 3, 4 problems a day. These are 2 different standards. These are front and back pages that they kept in their journal, in their binder. And that is a whole another task in and of itself, okay? That's when sheet protectors became our best friends in Miss Bain's class. So they had 4 problems a day that they had to do, and then we would go over them we'd go over them for morning work. So then the second page is something they would not get until Friday, and it was the review quiz. And they could actually use their morning work on their review quiz. So their review quiz looks like this, and it's the same standard, but you don't have as many problems. So you've got 4 problems here on the front and then 4 problems on the back. Same standards that we've gone over every morning. And these are standards that have already been taught and mastered. So these are not new standards. This kind of kept them, I guess, on task for morning work because they knew on Friday they were going to have a quiz on this. So this is what I did. And this just kind of, and I have it all the way till, actually, y'all, I was so sick. I made morning work through like April 3rd. And we did not get to use that. So guess what? It's going to be used next year. Okay. So what I did is I just printed off. So instead of keeping up with those sheets, which I do keep up with them in this binder, but I made this for our morning work so that I could go back and literally like see the progression and stuff. Also, another thing me and my kids learned is that I make mistakes. On every single morning work, you guys, like every single morning work, there was a mistake. And they loved it. They absolutely loved to say, Miss Bain, you made a mistake. That doesn't make any sense. The answer's not there. I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I'm glad you caught that. I put that in there on purpose. Yeah. No, I did. I just made a mistake. Oops. Anyways, morning work, onward. And I look at all my data for my test to get what standards I need to go over in morning work and homework. So it's like full circle. So here we go. Anchor charts, assessments, reviews, morning work, homework, newsletter, math, bingo. Oh my gosh. Fluency and random. So every anchor chart that I made, I would put in here. And I mean, it's a lot. You know, so if somebody said, well, I never got that anchor chart, I can print it. I can do a copy real quick and I don't have to find it on my computer. Assessments, this is every quiz and unit test I ever gave, whether it was on the computer or something that I printed out and they did on paper. Reviews, I only give reviews for our unit test and common assessments. So it was a lot. Some of them I made. Some of them, when I would make a test on ELS, I would make a separate one with different questions and print that off as the review. So that kind of helped me when I was feeling a little lazy and didn't want to do it. Also, here is my morning work homework. So this is where, let me pop this guy open. So this is the first one, you know, I told you this is the one where they would cut and glue it into their journal. And then this is homework that I actually made because I couldn't find any homework that I liked for Word form and expanded form with numbers and stuff. And then I actually have a copy of our newsletter for that week. So that kind of helps me know what, around that time, what dates are going to be. And then reading was on the front. And then we had math and science. And I always, luckily, my team teachers are awesome. And every week they let me either put multiplication or division facts on the newsletter. So that was really sweet of them. So there's all that. And it was a lot. Like, that's a big chunk of this binder. Math bingo. So I don't know if your school does this, AR, but we don't do that anymore. So we had a reading bingo where they had to like read and write a summary, or I don't even know what was on the reading bingo, to be honest. I'm not a reading teacher. I don't know. So I was like, well, if reading has a bingo, then math needs bingo, right? So I used the same like template or whatever, and I just made my own. So this is ours, and it has practice multiplication facts for 10 minutes, parent signature. Write your multiplication facts 7 through 12 5 times each. That's a teacher signature. complete an extra sheet of math homework, which I had stacks of in my classroom, teacher signature, achieving an A or a B on a math test, teacher signature, have more than 15 fluency points, teacher signature. So everything on here I had to sign except for the parent when they had to study facts for 10 minutes. We did this and it changed every 9 weeks. So it changed. I definitely changed the test one because I kind of felt like, well, C kids, you know, kids that get C's, they're pretty good too. So I put that on there. And then I did complete a word problem correctly using Unravel. So that's something that we use for quit, Hank. Hank! Y'all, this dog is driving me crazy. Anyways, and so here's my fluency. I've had a lot of people ask about my fluency. So I do, in 3rd grade, we started at 0s or 1s and went all the way through 12s, and then we had reviews. So it's 4-2 a sheet, and they're from each, like, 1s, 2s, 3s, but they're mixed and they're reviews, and they put their name and they have a minute to do it, and this is every morning in class. So when my kids are walking in my classroom, they're hearing, get your morning workout, get your homework out, get your fluency sheet, get an anchor chart, make sure you, like, I say it every single day. So they know to get their fluency, and I actually have a big chart on the board that has their name, and it has numbers 0 through 12, and that's for the individual ones, and then at the end it's for the mixed review. So that was basically in 3rd grade, but also in 5th grade I did that because I was seeing that some of them still struggled. They knew their multiplication facts, but they didn't know them fast enough. And so, you know, the older you get, the numbers get higher, so you need to be able to know those mental multiplication facts to be able to do those bigger problems faster and quicker. So we went back to starting at 0s all the way through 12s and then did reviews. And that really helped a lot of my kids, especially the kids that struggled. They even they got fluency points, you know. So there's that. I have a copy of those. And when we did like assistant teacher and stuff, and kids would come in and help me do things, this is something that I had them do, is cut this stuff out, because it's a pain to cut these jokers out. Well, basically because I'm OCD and I like it done a certain way, but howsoever. So this random stuff, it's got so randoms in it, but we shall go through them. So when they did their common assessment, one of their rewards was a homework pass. Well, the homework pass that they buy from Raider Rack is only for 1 homework day. So my kids would have homework Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. But it wasn't due until Friday. So, you know, if you had dance on Tuesdays and couldn't get it done, that's fine. I'm not checking it. I'm not checking it until Friday. So one of the things they wanted was a week of no homework. So I printed these up and signed them. And so I print them on cardstock, cut them out. They think it's the best thing ever. Math bingo, again, I did this and I really liked this, the Friday 411. I saw this on somebody's, I think, Instagram or something, and I changed the questions to something that I wanted. We do talk about our powerful words. So one way you use a powerful word, one awesome thing that happened to you, one thing you want to improve on, and then one thing Miss Bain needs to know. So a lot of my kids would put, you know, some kids would put they need help with something. Some kids would say, you know, give me news about their home life. Some kids would just tell me I'm ready to go sleep over at my grandparents' house. Just all kinds of stuff that they would tell me that I could kind of keep in the loop. Let's see, that's not filed in the correct place. I need to fix that. Oh, that's a color by number we did. Fun times. That's a pumpkin math sheet we did. I made them all get little pumpkins, and we estimated their height, width, and weight, and how many ribs were on the pumpkins. So this first one we did with the big one of mine, and then this was their little one that they did. They absolutely loved. They loved this activity. Hank! Anyways, also another thing that people have wanted to see are my data sheets. So when we do our common assessment every 9 weeks, I send home a data sheet to my parents telling them what their score was, where it falls, how they are on their fluency, how many homeworks have they completed, how many tests have they brought back signed, and also how many absences they've had, just to kind of keep them up to date. So here's my data sheet. So I kind of keep up with everything right here. I put the kid in the homeroom. These are our levels that we look at, and these are some of the things, reviewing homework, coming to school on time, being prepared, having a positive attitude. It also has all my contact information, my planning period. Also have some notes down here, so if I need to jot something down to a parent, I can put it right here, and they have to get it signed and bring it back. Also, I have a data sheet for my data binder. So I put that in here. It's got a lot of good stuff on it, so that when I do meet with a parent, I don't have to be flipping through 17 things. It is time consuming, y'all. It is. But once you get it down, oh my God, it's a lifesaver. Like, I know that if, I'll just use my niece as an example, if I needed to know Sally Cat's information, I can flip to her class, pull out her sheet, and I'm ready to go and talk to her mama. Because I have all my information right here. I don't say, oh, I need to run to my classroom. Oh, I need to look this up. No, I don't. I've got it all right here. And as long as you kind of stay on top of it, it's really not that bad. So I have like their 4th 9 weeks, what level they were on. I mean, not their 4th 9 weeks, excuse me. I'm 5th grade, so this is their 4th grade math test, their math MAP score, what their level was. This is our NWEA, what we started. It's kind of like STAR, so that's all that information right there. This is their snapshot. I know it's backwards for y'all, but it's okay. This is their snapshot, their percent. This is their grades for the 9 weeks. Fluency, their multiplication and division. Their absences on the back. Completed homework. Signed test. And then when we have our data conferences right here, we have them in October, January, and then March, because of that's when we take our common assessment. So I jot down our notes, we talk about our goals, what do you want to achieve, how many points do you want to grow, things like that. I sign and they sign. So it definitely takes responsibility off of me a little bit and puts it on the kids to be more focused. That's the mini pumpkins. What else I got going on? And actually, that lovely data chart that you just saw, actually, I did not even come up with that. My lovely sister did, Jenny Waite. This is hers. It was just a little too small for me. I need some bigger fonts. So, and some of the things that she has on here, I don't look at. So, it's different because she's a reading teacher. But so far, that is it for my everything binder and my master copies binder. I hope I helped you. If there's anything in here that you want to see, you want to email, just let me know in the comments and I will email you whatever I got, because I am all about sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. So thanks, guys.